Lonely. Marlowe howled at the front door. Leanne hushed him as she ran around the house, picking up ripped pieces of newspaper he'd managed to destroy while she was drying her hair. She ran to the trash can with fists of paper and stopped. Her sock was saturated. "You were just outside, Marlowe." He pawed at the skirting board in the kitchen. She was tired. She thought puppies got easier as they got older. She was wrong. An engine roared outside. It was time to say goodbye. Dreams. Leanne had always wanted a puppy. Ever since she was a little girl, she envied those she passed on the streets. Her mother eventually forbade her from approaching strange dogs after she caught her feeding a stray hanging around McDonald's when she was 7 years old. As time went on, her desire didn't diminish, and once she became of age, she only had one thing on her mind: companion. Leanne had a stable job and an impressive income. She wasn't interested in starting a family, but she wanted a companion. What was the point in working so hard when you had no one to come home to? Her home felt bare and empty. She woke up and fell asleep to silence. Then, one morning on her way to work, she found a lonely four-legged puppy. Stray. Leanne immediately brought the tiny black Labrador to her local vet. He was malnourished, weak, and was suffering from mange. Chances were he'd been abandoned. Her heart sank, but she took it as a sign. There would never be an ideal time for her to adopt. She could lose her job tomorrow. There could be a zombie apocalypse next year. Fate brought them together, but loyalty would keep them together. Growth. It took months of treatment, but Leanne eventually got Marlowe to a healthy physical state. As he became stronger, the black Labrador began to flourish. He loved his trips to the office, playing with Leanne's coworkers to pass the day. But he soon became too big to hide in a cardboard box. Leanne began to leave him at home during work. It was then that he started to display some worrying signs. Habits. Leanne would return home to a destroyed house, with Marlowe sitting happily in the center. Lamps were smashed, rugs were soiled, furniture was torn, floors were scratched. He began to bite, scratch, or chew anything he could get his hands on. Neighbors complained of his constant cries. Leanne was worried when she returned day after day to find the house destroyed and his food and water untouched. It was time to visit the vet, but she never expected them to diagnose Marlowe with this. Worries. The vet was quick to put two and two together. Marlowe was used to constant company. Now he was left alone for hours at a time. Marlowe was diagnosed with separation anxiety. He became distressed and agitated every single time Leanne left him alone. His cries, barks, and howls were just an attempt to prevent her from leaving every morning. And when she finally returned home, he would revert to his normal self. How was she going to care for him? Sitters. Finding a dog sitter was harder than Leanne had ever expected. She put up posters, shared Facebook statuses to every page, put her numbers on billboards. No one wanted to be responsible for Marlowe. She was exhausted. Marlowe was still using their home as his personal rec room, and he was getting worse with every passing day. She was running out of options. Research. Leanne read all the books, researched all the studies, watched all the videos she could find. Long walks, extra attention, safe environment, massage therapy. Nothing worked. She returned to her vet only to be offered medication for her pooch. Leanne refused. Who was she to force Marlowe to medicate his fears? There seemed to be only one option left. Time. Leanne helped Marlowe into a loose-fitting jumper to protect him from the harsh winds, and then into a harness. She hated to say goodbye. He was her best friend, a constant in her life. But he was hard work, needy, messy, and she'd run out of options. Maybe some time away would be good for them. Then they heard the horn. Cold. Leanne opened the door. The crisp winter air blew through the house. Marlowe was a fluffy dog, but not fluffy enough to avoid the Canadian frost. His paw sank into the fresh snow. She'd just paved the driveway the night before. A yellow bus parked just outside their gate, filled with crates and boxes of canines of all shapes and sizes. Marlowe froze. "It won't be for long. Come on." She gently tugged his leash and handed him over to the driver. It took Leanne months to find a reliable sitter to watch Marlowe for the day. He needed a large area to get exercise, but somewhere warm to feel safe. Most importantly, he needed company. When she heard about Good Hands boarding kennels, it was as if all her prayers had been answered. She shouted encouragements to her boy as he was loaded on board, But Marlowe wasn't a fan of confined moving spaces. The trip was short but tedious. The metal and plastic cages rattled against the bumps in the road. Marlowe couldn't stop shaking. He lay down like the other pets, hoping the journey would end soon. The passengers sung like a choir, howling throughout the journey. They missed their people. Leanne always dreaded saying goodbye, but she knew it was best for both of them. Destination. Once the bus came to a halt, the driver unlatched each crate one by one. When he finally opened the back doors, a crowd of animals rushed toward the building. They were greeted by the team of volunteers and Rachel Haggard, all dog lovers. They surrounded her like lions ready to pounce. No one would believe what was behind those four walls. Dream house. Trampolines, swings, toys, treats, balls, bones, and space to run galore. The Good Hands boarding kennel is one of the best kept secrets in Nova Scotia. I hate the thoughts of them sitting at home all day, bored or in a crate, when they could be here playing, Haggard shared. Not only do the team provide plenty of hugs and kisses, but each boarder provides extra company. Since joining, Marlowe is finally beginning to relax, and Leanne has finally been able to keep her rugs clean.